Pardon the interruption, but I'm Mike Wilbon, and look who returned to the show after a week away.
I'm Tony Kornheiser. How could I pass up an opportunity to be on ESPN too, huh? How could I do that?
Sunshine and 45 degrees?
It was cold. I mean, it was cold in Florida.
You know, I'm used to saying sunshine and 85.
No.
Not exactly.
No, and in fact, on Sunday morning, I think it was below freezing all the way down the line.
Did the LPGA get frozen out in Florida?
They were in Orlando. I think they were in Orlando. Yeah. Welcome to PTI, boys and girls. I'm back, baby.
Yeah.
In today's episode, the Cardinals and Raiders hire new head coaches. The NBA suspends Paul George, and a heavyweight boxer loses his toupee. Yes. But we begin today with tennis. Carlos Alcaraz beat Novak Djokovic in 4 sets in the Australian Open final, denying Djokovic his record 25th Grand Slam title once again. This was the first time Djokovic ever lost the Aussie final. He had been 10 for 10. Alcaraz now has won all 4 majors at least once, making him the youngest ever with all 4, and he has 7 Grand Slam titles at the age of 22. Wilbon, where does this place both Djokovic and Alcaraz in history?
I'll go in reverse order. Alcaraz is the best player now, maybe narrowly over Sinner, who has been ranked 1 and has his own little posse of slam trophies in his house. But Djokovic is the GOAT, Tony. I know that doesn't sit well with you.
Not with me.
Sit well with me. But look, he outdueled Federer and Nadal in their own time. He joined the race a little bit late.
He did.
Which gave him
he was younger.
3-4 years.
Yes,
that
younger.
matters. It does. It matters. But Tone, to me, getting to this final and playing Alcaraz like he did, it's confirmation of the Joker's greatness, because even at this stage, he can still get in there and go toe-to-toe with Alcaraz and Sinner. I mean, this is amazing that he can do this. I know Federer and Nadal have gone bye-bye now, but that's where it leaves it to me.
So we're going to look at the same thing through a different lens.
Okay.
Novak Djokovic is never going to win another major. That's obvious. Now, the Australian is always his best chance.
Yeah.
He's 38 years old. He'll be 39 during the French Open. Right? And I'm not saying he is a great player.
You don't think he could win the French?
No, I don't. I think it's over, because I don't think he can, as great as he is, I don't think in succession he can beat Sinner and Alcaraz. That's what I'm saying. To me, he's at the stage of his career now that Jimmy Connors was at late, where he was good enough to make semis. It
was entertaining.
Maybe a final, very entertaining, but he couldn't actually win the tournament.
Yeah.
And Sinner and Alcaraz aren't going anywhere. Sinner's 24.
They're getting better.
Alcaraz is 22. I believe I have this right. I asked for this morning. Either one or the other has won the last 9 majors, the last 9. This is not like women's tennis, where there's a different winner all the time.
Right.
In women's tennis, the last 5 majors,
like
different winners, 6 out of 7. That's not what's going on here. I appreciate, and I know that you think he's the GOAT.
Yeah.
And you know that I never have. You know, for me, it's always been Rod Laver. I would also say, despite the head-to-head, and I know what, because we've gone through this with Miami and Notre Dame, so I know where you are. Despite the head-to-head, I would take Federer over Djokovic. I might also take Sampras over Djokovic. That's the way I feel. And Djokovic is a great player. Alcaraz has 7. He's equal to John McEnroe. He's one behind.
He can stay healthy.
He is one behind Connors and Lendl and Agassi, and he's 22 years old.
Yeah.
My only problem here is this. I don't know that we know how good Sinner and Alcaraz are, because for the fact Djokovic is still the 3rd best player out there. Nobody else is challenging. They may be Federer and Nadal, who I think won 17 of 18
That's
at one
why I
point.
want Blake to show up and get in there late, but he doesn't seem to be able to. Alcaraz, by the way, could he get bored? Like Bjorn Borg? Could he get bored? Alcaraz seems like he wants to play golf more than he wants to play tennis.
I don't know.
Could he just go, I've won 16 of these, I'm done?
I don't know. You're down the road now. You're down the road.
Yeah.
But he looks like,
right
the
now,
2 of them look
right
like
now,
Federer
they do,
and Nadal.
Man.
They do.
Wow. Let's move to NFL teams filling their head coaching vacancies. The Cardinals hired Rams offensive coordinator Mike LaFleur for their opening, and the Raiders reportedly have decided to hire Seahawks offensive coordinator Klint Kubiak for theirs, which should become official following the Super Bowl. Tony, which of these new head coaches will be entering the better situation?
So let's put ownership to the side for a second. I think that Kubiak is entering the better situation. because he has the #1 overall draft pick. So if there is a quarterback that he wants, if, for example, he wants Fernando Mendoza, he's going to be there at 1. And he's got this. You know who's working with the Raiders? Tom Brady. So Tom Brady can help tutor this particular quarterback.
It looked pretty bad this year. They got the #1 pick for a reason.
Okay, but if the #1 pick is that kid, who we both think is really good, he walks into the NFL with Tom Brady helping him and a great tight end, Brock Bowers, great tight end. Arizona has a mess at quarterback right now. You're close. You live there.
They get the third pick.
Do they want Kyler Murray? Does Kyler Murray want them? And as hard as the AFC West is with the Chargers and Kansas City and Denver, the NFC West is harder with Seattle and the Rams and the 49ers. And that's my thinking on this.
I agree with you. I'm glad.
And it's also, there's no magic. There's no magic with the Arizona Cardinals. There's no anymore with the Raiders. But for decades, there was magic. For decades.
No, but not anymore. Okay. Not even with Tom Brady. And is he there enough to help restore that? I don't know. I'm glad you covered that so thoroughly, because I find myself not giving a damn about these 10 openings, because I sat there week after week or day after day, and I've come to the tally today that none of them are African-American coaches, that the league hasn't hired one, that there were 10 openings right now in this cycle. 10. 0 for 10. 0. And I know not everybody was fired. Mike Tomlin wasn't fired. He walked away. I get that. But, Tony, it seems to me that the NFL, much like much of the culture, has gone to a place that used to be, that we thought was gone away. And Roger Goodell, I don't know that he's the guy that Paul Tagliabue was, to get people on the phone and say, here's how we're going to do this. I don't know that Goodell's that guy. He has done that in certain areas, so let me not be completely dismissive. But the fact that it's 0 for 10.
I appreciate what you're saying. I'm also going to say this, except for, and I don't know any of these people other than Mike McCarthy and John Harbaugh, who certainly Harbaugh is deserving, and McCarthy won a Super Bowl, absolutely deserving. They are, most of them, they're entering the league with terrible teams, with the dregs of the league.
Yeah.
The only really bad team that didn't take a new coach this year, the Jets, took a new coach last year.
Yeah.
Okay?
And he, by the way, I'll let me know, is African American.
That's right. So when you look at when the stated question is who walked into the better situation, maybe neither walked into the better situation.
But you know what? You mentioned those guys that anybody would hire. A lot of these guys, like the new LaFleur, he may as well be Guy LaFleur to us. They have no resume.
No.
They
you know what their resume is? They all work for Sean McVay. They all work for Sean McVay.
We'll see.
There's one great job. The Buffalo job was a great job. Baltimore might be a good job. Pittsburgh, I'm not sure. The others are awful.
You know the job I think might be a good job, and you seem to be slow to climb on board. I thought Atlanta's a good job.
I'm not certain.
And they played pretty well at the end. They got rid of their coach.
I'm not certain. Let's turn to the NBA, which has suspended Paul George 25 games without pay for violating the NBA's anti-drug policy. George said he was taking, quote, improper medicine, unquote, related to his mental health. George is scheduled to return on March 25th, when the Sixers will have just 10 regular season games remaining. Wilbon, what does the suspension mean for George and this year's Sixers?
Tone, this is real complicated for me. We both know, and you have noted, I love Paul George as a person. Got to know him.
I know.
Over the last years. And he has talked about this openly in the past. So the issue itself is not new. And he and Kevin Love, as much as anybody out there in mainstream sports, have said, hey, let's pay more attention to mental health while we have this platform, while we are active players. And I love both of them for that. And I know Paul has talked about this, and we talked about it privately some too. And so, Tony, what it means for the Sixers is they're losing a guy who was just starting to look like Paul George again. He was starting to play, they think they were 16-11 with Paul George, doing some of everything.
16-11 with,
and 11 and 10 without.
So marginal.
Yeah, but it's who they beat and how they've beaten them and what they're doing as they come back. And you take less off Maxey and Edgecombe, the rookie, when Paul George can go out there and do things you don't want the youngsters doing yet. And maybe Embiid, who's not going to play back-to-backs. Paul George, he's been glue for years, and now he's doing that with the Sixers. By the way, the Sixers can maybe, I don't want to say benefit because that's a tough word, but they can be under the tax, and it can sort of, in some convoluted way, not hurt them as much if they try to make a move. But this is complex.
In the same way that we looked at Djokovic and saw it through a different lens, we have always looked at Paul George through a different lens. it's hard for me to deal with this in the sense, look, he's taken responsibility. He said he did it. I don't think there's an appeal or anything like that, and that's fine. But you have always liked him far more as a player than I have.
Yep.
I have always looked at him and said, my God, he makes so much money for somebody who doesn't really have results. I hated, as you know, when he called himself playoff.
Well, that was not good.
Because I didn't see any real work to do that. So I think he's a good player and not a great player. The Sixers are always juggling. Embiid is out. George is out. The Sixers are one of those teams. There are 2 or 3 teams in the league where people say, well, if they're all healthy. But they're never all healthy. This is a mind-blowing number. Their best 3 players are George, Embiid, and Tyrese Maxey.
Right.
They have been on the court together this season for 365 minutes out of a total of 2,300 minutes.
I think it's 17 games.
17 out of 28.
If you had said to me, how many games without research, I would have said 9. So I didn't think it was 17.
So if you ask me, what does it mean for the Sixers? When he comes back, and he's very rested,
going to get like 10,
he's going
15,
to have a huge
back.
Spotlight on his back.
I think he's okay
spotlight.
with that.
I would not bet on the Sixers. Even in the weak Eastern Conference, I would not.
Okay.
I would not.
Wait, our transition's perfect. The East is open.
Yes.
The Pistons are the best team. But the rest of them, I know the Knicks have won 7 straight, but you don't trust the Knicks yet.
You are seduced by the possibility that they will play together and be healthy.
I am.
And how long has that happened? 0 would be the correct answer.
Not often.
0. Let's take a break. When we come back, Darren Peterson in Kansas got a big win over A.J. DeBonsa and BYU, but was it the weekend's biggest win?
And what was the best highlight from the Lightning's Stadium Series win over the Bruins last night?
The pros from Dover are back. I'm sitting here. Well, played a lot of golf. I'm golfed out.
What are you doing in the cold?
I'm an idiot.
Yes.
Let's find out what's moving the masses in mail time. I'll put on my glasses and I'll get the first one here. You ready?
All right, what we got?
Who had the biggest win of the weekend in college basketball?
Illinois. I think by going to Nebraska, when Nebraska had previously, the whole season, Nebraska had 1 loss. And it's the shocking...
The game before.
The game before. Shocking team of the season, I think you'll agree. Nebraska, what?
Absolutely.
And Illinois, Tony. Illinois is my sleeper now. You know, you may say, wait a minute, as you wear purple today, very nice.
Yes.
As you may say, wait a minute, what are you doing rooting for the Illini? Because I do, because I grew up aware of the Illini long before I was aware of Northwestern. You grew up in Chicago. Illinois
you can root for them. You just can't root for them against
never. Right. Illinois has big people who can shoot it.
Yeah.
All right, and they got a kid named Stojakovic. You think he can shoot it? No. He can shoot it. I think that Illinois had like the best couple of wins of the week. I know that Arizona's undefeated, and the Big 12 is said right now to be better than the Big 10. Yeah. But Illinois can change that, and I think they're a Final Four team.
I'm going to leave the Big 10 to you, but I'm sort of surprised you didn't mention Michigan as well.
They won at Michigan State. Yeah, okay. That's a big win.
All right. I could mention the UConn women. They won their 39th game in a row. In the second half against the number 15 team in the country, Tennessee.
Well.
54-24.
Yeah.
But if I'm honest with you here, I haven't watched much. And I haven't watched much college basketball or the NBA. I haven't watched much because the NFL season has been the greatest season that I remember, and the playoffs have been great. And when I wasn't watching that, I was watching the college football playoffs, which were equally spectacular. So after the Super Bowl, I have a lot of catching up to do.
You're running out.
But here's the problem I've got.
What?
I will watch the Winter Olympics. I know you don't care as much as I do, and I will watch the Winter Olympics.
I won't, because I'm not going to watch the figure skating. But the college basketball is shaping up. And you and I have both signed off on the men's college basketball a little bit the last few years.
I'm not going to sign
I think it's back.
I think it's good.
I think it's going to be all right.
Small amounts I've seen, but the NFL's been great.
It's over. The NFL's done. Get them out of here.
Great.
They'll just be on a couple of other shows in the morning, every morning, no matter what. Outdoor game. What was the highlight of last night's Stadium Series game in Tampa?
Yeah, so let's make it clear that people understand Stadium Series means the outdoor game, which of all places to have it, it was in Tampa, although Tampa was cold.
What's the second outdoor game? The other was in Miami.
So it was
ridiculous.
So here, did you see when the teams got off the buses? Okay.
Yes.
When Tampa gets off the bus, they are wearing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers orange
creamsicle. They're wearing the
jerseys, pads and helmets. And who leads them out? Baker Mayfield leads them out. When the Bruins arrive, they're in colonial attire. It's absolutely, it's fabulous. Then you have, if I'm correct on this, Tampa scores the first 11 seconds. Boston scores the next 5 goals, doesn't hold the lead. You end up with a shootout. But which is great, but if you ask me the highlight, I'm going to go where you won't go. It's the goalie fight. I know you don't like goalie fights. I like goalie fights. No, I think, Mike, every year the NHL gets this right. I think it's one of the best things that they do. Mark Messier was out there in the Tampa Bay Stadium with a pirate outfit on.
Yeah.
It's fabulous.
Yeah, I'm not going back to the 1800s or the 1700s. Because I guess I'd have to have a Frederick Douglass costume on, which would be fine. Frederick, one of my faves. But I'm not going. It was Pasternak off the right post.
Yeah. Okay.
That was it. That's game, right?
Okay.
But I will say the creamsicle uniforms.
It was brilliant.
The creamsicle. They had to pay Baker Mayfield. Mayfield a hockey guy. I think he is.
You know what I think Baker Mayfield is? I think he's I'm in this city and I'm going to make it work as much as I can guy. I do. I think he's that kind of guy.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
I don't want to see the winter series. And there are two. There's the stadium series and there's the winter.
I like the outdoor game.
I don't want to see them in Florida. Can we see them where they're supposed to be? In Boston, in Detroit, in Pittsburgh,
I'm trying to tell
Chicago.
You, I was in Florida. It's much colder.
Ain't that cold?
Much colder than you think. That's enough. Mail already. Let's take one last break. Coming up, Luis Arraez, baseball's active career leader in batting average, finds yet another new home.
Nobody wants this guy. Baseball's disgusting. Heavyweight Jarrell Miller gets there.